Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday. I cannot believe it is already April 30th. I am so happy to be on with you today and to spend the very last day of April with you. I got some really great notes from folks who are in Bali and Thailand, where the time zone is just not compatible, as well as Australia. So thank you so much for registering. I'm super excited for you to see this replay and to get involved. So thanks in advance for sending in your questions. And today will be a little bit of a love letter. As you'll see, there are some pretty gnarly stats in the world about AI. And what I want to bring today is a really enthusiastic approach to change. So as we get started here, actually, do you want me to show, before we even get started, I'd love to show a prompt that will save you 250 hours a year. You ready? Okay, cool. So I am going to fire up my screen share so you can see ChatGPT. And this is a little bit magical. Okay, so first let me share my screen. And here we are. Window. Yes, this is what I want. Okay, perfect. So here we are. You're seeing my screen. And before we get started, I just want to tell you a quick little story and show this prompt. So once upon a time, I was operations goddess for Peter Diamandis, and the individuals you see here were part of his personal S-corp. So these are the humans who were orbiting around him and supporting his personal brand, his books, his businesses. So two people here were his personal assistants, and one person's full job was to manage his schedule and his relationships. And I say that to say the early part of my career was helping to really optimize schedules and routines and morning routines. So that's what this is. So let me bop over to ChatGPT. This is what it looks like. And what's interesting with GPT-4 on the Plus subscription, there's a cap of 25 messages every hour. So I am going to really maximize my 25 messages. So I'm actually going to paste this prompt in the chat and break it down with you so you can use it too. So here I go, and I'll put it in the chat right now. And oh, look at that. See, it's too long for even the it's too long for even the chat window. Okay, let me put it in ChatGPT first so you can see it, and then I'll put it in the chat. So what you've got, let me break down this prompt. I want you to act as a productivity expert, time management specialist, and health coach. I will provide information on my current schedule and daily rhythm, and you will generate the ideal morning routine for energy and effectiveness. So this is what's called a chained prompt. So a prompt is just the words you put in to interact with AI. So in this case, the first little paragraph here, which I just put in chat, is just setting it up and telling the AI what avatar or persona I want it to put on. And then I'm giving it a preview of what I'm going to give it and what I want it to do with that information. Now you'll see here I've got some steps. This is because I very much want ChatGPT to do things in order. And I want, this is one of the most successful ways I found in using ChatGPT personally for my work. And the reason is there is quite a bit of conversation around, well, if you enter things in, it's generic. And for me, I want to have enough in there, a human in the loop, so to speak. So step one, I want a reflection on the information I've provided. Step two, I want to have ChatGPT as this productivity expert, time management specialist, and health coach. I want it to reflect back and ask me open-ended questions about things I might not have thought about. And then I want to see it drafted the schedule, but I also want to have an opportunity to ask and iterate and improve. And then the step four is to make changes based on the feedback. And then, do you understand? I love ending with that. And then this part, I'll paste it in just so that you see it, but this is where you really customize it. Okay, Here is some information about my day to inform your questions. Oh, how funny. This is one of those where I'm going to, okay, so I usually fall asleep by 10, wake up naturally early in the morning. Here's my 3-year-old son and his day. And so in this step, I'm really going through actually what my morning is like. And I want to give as much information as possible and some color on my preferences. And the nuance here is the specificity on what I want. So it's really important whenever using AI to say what you want. And so here it is. And let's see what happens. So thank you for, oh, how funny. So sometimes even with the steps, it kind of combines things together. So I can improve this prompt by saying, do not proceed to the next step until until I say so. But this is good because I don't want to waste my 25 chats back and forth. Okay, so help you create the ideal morning routine. So now, what time do you need to leave the house for work or start your work at home? Are there any specific time constraints, time-sensitive tasks or responsibilities in the morning? This is really great questioning. This is the kind of thing that I would do working with entrepreneurs and just go manually do this on the phone, of course, before AI. And then step 2, what are your top priorities? Are there activities or habits that you'd be willing to adjust or shorten? Okay, so I'm going to say I want to start work between 9:30 and 10 a.m. I don't have any constraints on exercise or even when we wake up. My top priority is to start the day feeling energized, refreshed, and centered. There. Happy to adjust the timing to support the schedule. I don't want to wake up, earlier than 5 a.m. There. Currently, I feel great when I have done all of the above specified activities. There. Okay, let's see what happens. Thank you. Here's a first draft. All right. Wake up, breath work, box breathing, early morning sunlight. This is an Andrew Huberman recommendation, which is one of the things I specified earlier. Light pre-workout snack and hydrate. There's my yoga and Peloton. There's my shower, meditation, journaling, reading, preparing and having breakfast, walk the dog, morning prep, start the workday. So this is a very workable start to a routine. And I show and share this because this is one of those things where I mentioned this particular team, every minute was optimized. Peter would say to us, even 15 minutes. If there was a 15-minute open block, he expected us to fill it. And so that element would have saved so much time and literally 6 figures worth of value in our business just by having that one prompt. And what did it take? It took just a couple minutes. But the kicker is when I do this live pre AI, of course, there is this, it was always so hard. There's so much math involved. It always had to get reworked later on. And it was tough to find something that felt really great. So this is kind of how I think about solving problems. I look at the stressor, and in this case, it's feeling rushed and behind even before the workday begins, feeling that kind of mental clutter and chaos. And then you start that way, and then you go into a day of meetings, which adds even more craziness. And then before you know it, the day's over and you have never caught up. Like I cannot stand living in that place. I can't live in that place. Where I want to be instead. And so there's the stressor, and then we have the desired outcome. I want to feel energized, connected, refreshed, and just really ready for what the day will bring, but not from a place of nervous system excitement. I want to be neutral, ready, prepared for anything. And so this is the fun stuff. I give people time they didn't know they had. And that same prompt, by the way, can be used for so many other business uses. Build an agenda for a 60-minute call that includes blah, 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 blah. Build an internal team calendar that includes blah, 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 blah. And you can get as specific as you want and have ChatGPT really recommend the ideal cadence for team meetups and one-on-ones, just so that we're doing this with intention and strategy. And then, of course, create an ideal weekly routine to maximize remote productivity and the following personal and professional activity. So in a few minutes, I'm going to show you how you can use this to save 250 hours a year at home and save a lot of hassle. And that's the big promise here. What would you do with an extra 250 hours a year? It doesn't, I mean, it sounds crazy like that, but this is really, it's an hour a day, every week or every work day for a whole year. An extra hour is life-changing when you're already feeling busy. It's the difference of not meditating and meditating. It's the difference of not having any time to yourself before you start a day of supporting other people and working and solving problems for other people. It's having that time to yourself. And to me, that is the most valuable way that I could even start this session, is just by sharing a way to immediately get that time back for you. So the kicker is people don't know how to think about AI right now, and there's, to be fair, there's so much confusion and doomsday in headlines and crazy, scary studies. I'll share some, by the way. But people are asking, will AI take my job? What is AI? Is it sentient? What can it do? What can't it do? What news is worth paying attention to about AI? What's really going to affect me? And really, what do I need to know about AI right now? And these are the kinds of things that I love to dabble in, but honestly, nobody shows you how to use it in your life. And that's where I come in. So a lot of folks, I spent a lot of time with leaders in Silicon Valley and here in Los Angeles, and everybody's saying some variation on the following. AI won't take your job, but someone using AI will. There's a lot of really esteemed leaders and investors and thinkers and philosophers who have really muddied the water in a way, because they are sharing news that is true from a futurist perspective. But anyway, I won't qualify it. So here's Vinod Khosla from Khosla Ventures, legendary investor and an early investor in many of our top startups and tech companies today. So he says, in 25 years, 80% of all jobs will be capable of being done by an AI. So 25 years, okay, we've got some time. But getting from here to that utopia is really disruptive, and it's terrible to be the disrupted one. Peter used to say there will be bumps on the road to abundance, and that form of reductionism is I want to have a hopeful look at the future, but there's a lot in there, a lot of disruption, a lot of chaos. A lot of people's lives will be affected in the next few years and even months, just because of this new technology that's come and changed the game. We haven't had experience with a technology like that in modern history that has had such a rapid and viral evolution. So this is Yuval Noah Harari. He's the author of Sapiens and some other books. And he said something a few years ago that's come up again as recently as this last week, or a couple weeks ago when TED was going on. By 2050, a useless class might emerge, the result not only of a shortage of jobs or a lack of relevant education, but also of insufficient mental stamina to continue learning new skills. So this has a neural plasticity component. When we stop learning new skills, our gray matter, our brain power isn't quite as strong. And this is troublesome. So what I see here as the opportunity with AI is to take a chance to learn something new and actually save some time in your workday, build back that opportunity to choose how you spend your time, which is a measure of your life. So we saw Vinod Khosla, and he's talking about 25 years from now, but what's happening right now? So OpenAI, Open Research in the University of Pennsylvania released some research earlier this year that projects and predicts that 80% of the US workforce could have at least 10% of work tasks affected, and 19% of workers, so almost 1 in 5, may see at least 50% of their tasks impacted. Goldman Sachs research, there was a paper a couple months ago that said worldwide AI could affect as many as 300 million jobs, which is 2/3 of all current jobs. It's gnarly. And generative AI can substitute up to 25% of current work. Last week, Princeton, my alma mater, University of Pennsylvania, and NYU came out with a study about how the jobs most exposed are highly educated, highly paid white collar jobs. So I'm going to show you uh, a bit of this Goldman Sachs research, and this really shook me. If you turn your head to the side, you can see that the most affected jobs by AI, office and administrative support, there's business and financial operations, management, community and social service, sales, and that's like where I've spent my career. Always in these roles or around these roles. So to me, I'm looking at, okay, AI is going to affect all my friends, my peers, my colleagues, the people who have really grown up, helped me grow up, and who I have had some of my biggest successes with. And so I feel a very deep calling to support. And it's interesting because we're in such a weird time. So right now, this research is from Q1. So 43% of professionals use AI tools like ChatGPT at work. Of those 43%, 68% say their boss doesn't know, which, I get it. And there's also this, there's some data considerations, some privacy considerations. So it's interesting because I advise entrepreneurs and I also work with teams. So it's interesting to hear kind of both sides of the aisle here, and the incentives are very, very different. Resume Builder found that 48% of companies using ChatGPT report that it has replaced human workers, and 84% of the companies that responded to their survey had saved over $50,000 using ChatGPT, and a lot more had saved well over $100,000. And then this research came across my desk yesterday. There was a public social media forum where people can ask health questions and receive answers from physicians. Turned out that patients preferred ChatGPT's responses to their questions over physician responses 79% of the time. So very, very interesting. From a productivity perspective, my business is ridiculously efficient, and that's been the name of my game the last 15 years, is looking for and finding efficiency. So of course I'm looking at this. The Academy of Management Journal found that sales teams were over twice as successful at resolving questions that required creativity. And another great result is they doubled customer purchases. So in that study, the top sales personnel had the biggest productivity gains, no shocker, but even lower performers were also up-leveled as a result of the AI. There's time savings, there's cost savings, and productivity raises. So MIT found that ChatGPT substantially raised average productivity on business writing tasks and benefited low ability workers more. So it's interesting because I'm in the business of high performance, and very often I've worked with high performers, and we are the group that will be among the first to see some of that edge and that advantage shrink because of AI, and because these tools are so weighted towards operations, marketing, writing, general purpose activities where we would really bring a lot of value in the marketplace. So it's interesting. I've been tracking layoffs like a lot of folks have, and layoffs in the tech industry. Now, right now, I'll say these layoffs are probably due to the economy, not necessarily due to AI, but it is impossible to see this and not wonder what things might be like in 6 months, in 8 months, in another year. So, there is a bit of urgency to this. We're in a time of change. We're in a time of transformation, and I see opportunity in this, tremendous opportunity. So to me, we're asking the wrong questions right now. We need to be asking, how can I use AI in my life to save time? How will AI affect my role in the next 90 days? And how can I start using AI to save time right now? Because the truth is, it's good enough, right? It's not perfect. It's not going to take your job, but it can augment enough of your job to save you some time. And that is where you can start to build in with that free time, whatever you want to do. Perhaps some of it is learning more about AI and getting involved and finding some more efficiencies. But maybe it's getting in better shape, or deepening your relationships, or spending more time with your family. Like this is the big promise of AI to me, and that is why I'm in the game, is to find these efficiencies so I can share them. So as I mentioned, worked with Peter Diamandis for 8.5 years. My title was Operations Goddess. Along the way, I was mentored by Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach over here, and his partner, Bab Smith, and just had such an amazing experience in understanding the entrepreneurial mindset, how entrepreneurs think and how successful leaders think, their mindsets. Tim Ferriss over there, and then the former governor of Jalisco, Mexico. And so we would always, so Abundance 360, the logos you see back here, was the event that I co-created with Peter. And we would get entrepreneurs together from all over the world and teach them about the technologies that are coming to market in the next 1 to 3 years, and the relevant tech developments to know, and the mindset and the tactics to forecast the implication on their business, on their industry, and on society at large. So I have spent a lot of time thinking about the implications of technology, and specifically about AI. I've been thinking about since 2013, as well as all of the I'll say the future of work technology. So augmented and mixed reality, blockchain is going to be in the mix, and then sensors and networks. So many things going on, and so much that is changing. So we right now have AI that is just dominating every headline, dominating every conversation on LinkedIn and otherwise. But there are other technologies happening right now that are intersecting, and it's worth knowing about those too. So fundamentally, my why is to find a better way to work and live. I am the kid of very unique parents. My mom worked for the government and really didn't like it. she kind of freaked me out of an office job. I've never worked in one. And then my dad had a very unique approach to his work as well, which was much more about service and benefits. So he was at TWA for a long time, and we got to fly all over the place, but he didn't make much. And so he found different ways to bring value into our house. But anyway, I say that to say that the way that I find a better way to work and live is by challenging the status quo. And so if everybody is saying one thing, I'm going to find a different way. I'm going to take the back door, the side door, and find unconventional ways to get the result that I want. And so you can count on me to solve problems, find efficiencies, and help you thrive right now. So how will you navigate this time in AI? The good news, it's not going anywhere for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's not like, maybe Web3 last year, where everything we were hearing about was NFTs and crypto, and then it all went away when the market crashed. This is going to stick around for a little while. There's so much global investment. The competition is heavy. And so from the very top, there are tremendous incentives to double and triple down on AI. And another piece of good news is it's useful enough right now to give you some easy time-saving wins and productivity gains. I do a lot of work with teams in the public and private sector, teaching them about productivity and time management. And, a lot of the techniques I used to teach up through the end of last year were all manual. We used some technology and light early versions of AI, but nothing like today's AI. And the speed of implementation is so much easier and faster that it's a great time to get involved. And luckily, all of the tactics and strategies and tools still apply, and they get even faster with AI, just like that workflow demo I showed at the top of our call. Okay, here's the bad news. AI is evolving fast. I record screen shares for a tool for my community, Creative Intelligence. I upload them, and almost every time I get an email within 24 hours from that tool that they have new feature releases and upgrades. I mean, it's overwhelming, the pace of development. AI will affect someone you love, or you in the next 90 days, for sure. I'm talking with entrepreneurs every day who are looking for reasons to cut headcount, to create efficiencies. And what I'm wanting to do is to give them another idea and another path. But it's in a tough building economic year, it is really challenging to stay competitive if you are not in that no-brainer top 1% of your team, your department, your company that has these skills. And it turns out that having these AI skills makes you instantly more valuable. So it's interesting. To avoid overwhelm and amygdala hijacking, you must filter out signal from noise and focus on what's most relevant to you. So one of the big things that I learned with Peter Diamandis is the role of our amygdala, and it is there to keep us alive and evolved. And as we evolved, it helped us, listen and hear that rustle in the grass that might be a tiger or a big cat coming to get us. But now that noise is it's news headlines, it's Twitter headlines, and we are wired to pay 10 times more attention to bad news than good news. So of course, I see all of the headlines about how different AI developments are going to change the game and make you lose your job and all that. And we've got a little time for some of these developments, but there's also just a lot of I'll call it doom and gloom out there about it. But the truth is, you can make AI work for you. And so a phrase that I use, I learned it from Dan Sullivan, is human technology teamwork. So the human part is, how do you operate? So when I go into teams and businesses, I'm looking at how people instinctively operate, their tendencies, their personalities, their working style and habits, the things that they do really well, and also the things that cause them to procrastinate or that they avoid. So how can AI help you? And it is different for each one of us based on how we work. And then we start there. So then we go, okay, how does AI operate? What expectations are reasonable to have? I showed ChatGPT, but there are so many, literal hundreds of tools that each save time and that are either built on AI like ChatGPT, or they've got their own systems going. So what expectations are reasonable now? What's good enough? And how might this change in the future, and why? And then the third part is teamwork. How do you work with and use the AI to get what you want? So for me, I'm always looking better, faster, cheaper, easier. How can I use AI to get the thing I want better, faster, cheaper, or easier? And so we've got this 3-part framework in terms of how I help people use AI on a tactical, practical, everyday basis. So first is, what is the stressor? What is not working? What is the thing that is causing you pain, causing you agita? Then clarify the ideal result. This is, what outcome do you really, really want? And then, based on the stressor and the ideal result you want, which is the best AI tool? What's the best prompt? What's the best framework to actually support your needs and get what you want done? So this is very tactical, and this makes me, it makes it very easy for me to tune out things that are more of a distraction. And frankly, a lot of these AI tools are addicting to use because you can just move so quickly and build on your ideas. And very often, if you're not careful and you're not really specific on the ideal result you want, you can open up an AI loop and start generating all these things that you'll never use, and then create more work for yourself later on, because of course, all this stuff has to be edited and personalized. So my goal here is to give you even more control over your time and your life. Never before have we had a technology that every business wants to use, needs to use, has to use. So business owners and managers are looking for ways to leverage it everywhere. I'm in talks every day, well, every other day, with companies who are wanting support deploying it within their businesses. And they're thinking about things like privacy and data, and how they're using that data to really enhance their all of their processes. So we've got this, it's kind of like a wind in our sails, because we have this opportunity to learn AI. And there are very real and practical ways to save time, which creates the time to learn more and build your skills. But it's tricky because right now everybody's busy. That's where this guy comes in. This is my husband, Mike. We've been together we've been married 15 years this June. Quite an achievement. And we bicker. We couldn't be more different in some ways. This is like we are an opposites attract kind of couple. And I'll just show you. So this is well, it doesn't matter if you can't see the whole thing. I know I'm really small in this, but this is a family calendar. It's like a family plan. You can buy it online. It's really cool. And it's like, you know, you write the things you do every day and your meal plan. And like, I love planning and getting ahead because when it's during the week, I want to focus on what I'm doing. And then I want to play with my family. I do not want to spend time thinking about logistics, but guess who is the one in our family who thinks about logistics? And so I would start this activity usually over coffee on a Sunday, and I'd go, okay, how can we plan ahead for the week? What are we going to eat? What do we need to buy? What are the errands? What are the and we would bicker because of course my husband's like, that's like tomorrow. That's a tomorrow problem. That's not a today problem. It's Sunday. And I'm like, nah. And so then I would try and fill out this calendar by myself, and it would be really wild. And so the flip came when I realized that I could use ChatGPT not just for work, but for our life. And so the flip happened, and I'll share this prompt, and it's very, very similar to the one that I started the call with. And I'm just going to paste it over here. And so what we did instead is I fired up a window and opened it up. I'll start a fresh one so that, because each chat, it'll keep the context for a while. So I want to start a fresh one, which is a good practice when you're doing it, using it for a different topic. So here's my prompt, and it's very similar. I want you to act as a productivity expert, time management specialist, and health coach. I'm going to provide information on my current schedule, and you will generate the ideal morning routine. Now I'm going to say, do not proceed past each step until I confirm. There, fine. Okay, so now the magic. I'll send this while it goes. I'll just read it. So here is where I started the magic. So my husband's sitting with me, and I'm going, okay, let's just talk. What do we want? And we talked about our son, how my husband's not a morning person. He takes a shower in the morning. We walked to preschool, and then because preschool is a new thing for us, we had the opportunity to go, okay, what are we going to do with this 4.5 hours that we have never had since he's been born? So the above contains everything. Please proceed. So this is great because it's following my instruction, and you can see the difference from the first time I ran this prompt, and it did multiple in a row. Okay, so let's see, Peloton, please. And let me see. I guess I didn't put in what I like to do. So rowing. Okay. Let's see. I'll do husband likes variety, 15 minutes to meditate and journal. We do intermittent fasting. So bulletproof coffee, is how my husband and I start our day. And what type of reading material? Oh, wow. I love reading business and mindset books. Okay. Let's see how this goes. 5:30. All right. Morning sunlight. Yes, there's the walk. She'll love that. Unload the dishwasher. There's our coffee. Meditation. Books. breakfast. So this is great. There's a little bit of overlap here because our son's at preschool, and then we've got this personal open time. I love it. So this is close enough. And honestly, the best part is, so when we did this together, we were both on the same side of the table. We were part of the process. Everybody was part of the process. And because this is iterative, I could have said, can we combine, can we combine something? The coffee step while I unload the dishwasher. This is how it actually goes down. Okay. There. Now we rework it. And this kind of natural language, easy conversation is so much better than messing with spreadsheets or calendars or anything. Ugh. And honestly, you see how fast this is once you have the prompt. It's a cut and paste. It's a quick conversation, and then we've got it. And if I weren't talking through it, we could be done with it in 5 minutes. It is so lovely. So there we go. That's our morning. And within Creative Intelligence, I show how to combine and take that and put it into tools that automatically protect those activities in your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar, whatever you use. So it's one thing to have the routine, and then it's another to create another efficiency, which is automatically loading it into your calendar. And by the way, if you use scheduling tools like Calendly, you can stack that even further so that people are only seeing availability in the times that are not stepping on stuff that you're already doing. So often I see people block time for lunch, but then they have a call during lunch. And it's like, well, what was the point of blocking lunch? So we do this every week with Creative Intelligence. I provide a new AI tool or workflow that would save 250 hours a year. And then I do a tool demo. I show you step by step how it works, what it's good for, and considerations and questions to ask before you use these tools. Because of course, everything now has their business model, and it is so fast and easy. Don't ask me how I know, to stack up 5, 6, 7 of these subscriptions to AI tools that you may not use all the time. So it's important to really vet from a financial standpoint, but also just from an overload standpoint, so that you're working with the same set of tools and that your productivity stack, your AI stack, is optimized for you and always fresh and current. So we've got the newsletter, we've got demos, and then we've got spaces. These are live co-working sessions where we're coming together. Sometimes we've got themes, sometimes it's open, and you bring your projects, you bring the things that you're working on, your questions, and even the situations that you're going through at work or in your personal life or with your creative projects. We bring it into this space and we talk about how to use AI to accelerate it and to save up time and find efficiencies. Here's a look at some of the little walkthrough videos I do. So I always provide different workflows, and this is how I've automated and used the ChatGPT Zapier Zap to really streamline the amount of time I save save the time I spend on social media, and using ChatGPT to create really digestible news summaries, which keep my feed alive and enable me to just pop in once every few days instead of what a lot of folks do is check many times a day. I've got some SEO over here, and then some different ways to use ChatGPT. This is an amazing automation wizard for e-commerce workflows. So those who are working in marketing and or agencies, and they're involved in creating these transactional workflows for many businesses. Ooh, this will save some time. And this one is a tool that lets you upload PDFs and ask questions. And so here I have a database of all of the AI papers and research that I'm reading, like the stats that I shared earlier in our call. And I'm just asking the questions I want to ask, and not some of these PDFs are hundreds of pages long. And so that's been saving a ton of time. And honestly, everybody needs a guide in this time. And there are lots of experts, very few guides, and even fewer guides who can take you to a practical destination that makes your life better. And so this, to me, is the big advantage of having that support. And honestly, I've worked in operations and sales and relationship building and marketing. And so I have a deep intrinsic knowledge of what it's like to do these processes. I've also coached teams through it to do it faster and better. And now we have AI to layer on top of it. So there's just a wealth of expertise that you get access to when you join this community. So this is the big question. What could life feel like in 90 days? It's funny. Someone asked me last week, well, why do you put, you are so lifestyle oriented. Why do you have these webinars on your Sunday? And the truth is because I don't work Monday and Friday unless I want to. And that edge was only possible as of March, because it took me a while to get used to working with AI in a way that it saved me time versus adding to distraction and overwhelm. But now that I got it, it's dialed in and it is so magical. So the investment for Creative Intelligence Pro is $149 a month. And with that, you get AI briefings, tool demonstrations, advice, personal advice on workflow customization. We've got coaching. I've got a private Slack channel where you can DM me anytime. There's also a group channel where you can get advice and ask questions of the group or share news that you want to talk through. A lot of folks will put up a news article that they read and then we talk about it, or something that's freaking them out. They'll share it and we talk about it. And that's one of the ways that we support each other in this time as well. So to subscribe, I actually have a special offer for you. Let me locate my window. So here we go. I'm going to put up a button now. This button will get you 25% off of your subscription. So click that button, head to the page, scroll through, and join. That's as easy as it is. I recommend a 90-day commitment. And the reason is it takes a while. You're already probably busy. And so it's going to take a while to find that efficiency. And then honestly, like once you free up an hour or two in your day, you need some time to enjoy it before you reinvest it in your learning and your advancement. So give me 90 days. That's the request. And you get real world experience, examples you can use right away, and just-in-time workshops to support your real-time needs during the workday. We've also got these meetups. And so every other week we focus on writing. And this is where you can bring in real things you're working on. Do you need an email sequence? Are you working on a landing page? Or are you rewriting your bio or redoing your LinkedIn? This is the place. This is the place to bring that kind of work and to bounce it off of our members and off of me. And then for the next couple months, we've got build and connect sessions. And these are equal parts getting to know each other and networking and working on practical, tactical parts of our business. So in a couple weeks, we'll have our summer content strategy session, and then we'll work on testimonial and feedback campaigns. But again, regardless of what's on the schedule, we always talk about what's present and alive with our group right now. So I put this calendar out so we've got some predictability and some things to look forward to, and we shift if we need to. A few lovely words from some of our pro members. Yesterday's email with your writing mega prompts has already given me an ROI on my subscription. Someone who's a head of operations says, every issue gives me something I can bring into our startup to improve our processes and teamwork. And then a creative director who is always at our meetup says, I don't know how you do it, but the synchronicity in who I've met on our group calls is so nourishing and impressive. And that's something I'm really proud of, is there are really amazing humans in this community who care about each other, who care about the world, who care about doing business right. And they are who I want to surround myself with. So if you are wanting to up-level your community, your network, join us, join the fun. So with that, I will pause for questions and say hello. I'm going to stop the screen share so that I can see you. And I do have a few, there it is. Okay, now I found it. So I found a few, let me just grab my email because I have some questions from our Bali friends who weren't able to join because they are sleeping. Okay, so can I expense my membership? Yes. So if you are traditionally employed, I have a template on the welcome email that you can use to personalize. It's like a cut, paste, personalize, and send to either someone in HR or your boss or your manager, whoever the decider is about expenses. And it has all the benefits involved. And then, honestly, feel free to just send them to me and I can give them more information. And then the other thing I want to say is if you are a freelancer or a business owner, this is a professional subscription. So this is a professional networking community, and it is up leveling your knowledge. So absolutely expense it. I'm not a tax professional, but we all use this strategy to get into groups and up level our professional network and up level our skills and keep our brains sharp. And that's the promise here as well. Okay, here's another one. Who is this for? Yes. So honestly, I think everybody needs to learn about AI right now. This is one of those no-brainers. I don't know, like I have a past client who works on an oil rig in Alaska. And while AI might not directly, my flavor of AI may not directly affect his day-to-day job, he's got a family at home. And there's so many ways to use it to organize travel and adventures and activities and coordinate maintenance plans for your house. I mean, there's so many ways that you can use these tools. And so my first answer is everybody needs this. And I will say that the people who get the most out of me and my expertise and my background are people who are in leadership, marketing, operations, sales, customer service, executive support, chiefs of staff, humans who work in roles that are people facing. These are honestly also the jobs that were most affected by that Goldman Sachs report and chart that I showed earlier. So there's a little bit here where I'm very much wanting to support my people, and there's so much opportunity for time savings when it comes to AI. And literally 90 days from now, who knows what the expectations will be professionally. And so there's this moment that we have right now to start dabbling, start experiencing the time savings, start seeing what it can and can't do so that you can differentiate yourself and be conversant enough and useful, able to use AI so that you're actually able to leverage yourself and gain some leverage on your time. Right now, I mean, the studies are just insane post-pandemic about the rate of disengagement, burnout, stress, overwhelm in the traditional workplace and people who go to offices. It's like the last few years has really thrown us for a loop. And I think the latest numbers I saw were, and this was January. It could have even been last year, but anyway, 70% of the workforce right now is disengaged or actively disengaged. Actively disengaged is otherwise known as toxic. Like those are the people who gossip and who are just bringing entire organizations down. And because so much of my work touches on culture and business operations, I mean, one poison apple spoils the bunch is the saying, but it's true. I mean, this is not the time for a toxic culture. And I'm getting so many requests for workshops and speaking engagements to deal with burnout, to deal with employee engagement and motivation. People are afraid either because of things happening out in the world or because of this existential threat of technological change. But to me, this is, well, it's amygdala hijacking, but to me, this is an enormous opportunity to learn something new, free up some time, free up some space, and really experience a different relationship with time. It's interesting when I left my role with Peter Diamandis, we had a beautiful discussion together and very real and heartfelt. And I told him I wanted a different relationship with time. And it's amazing because I look at this life now on the other side and I'm living it. I have it. And I couldn't have done it had I not learned AI and started to dabble and started to figure out how I could differentiate my own skills and get the things I needed to do complete faster. Like, it was so hard to push things over the finish line with a toddler and just the needs, his needs. And I mean, toddlers are crazy anyway, but without that, I don't know that would have happened. And so, because I've experienced it in my life, because I've studied it for AI for, I don't know, since 2013, because I've been involved in futurism and trend spotting since 2008, like, I feel like I have been waiting for this moment in technology just so that I can help people through this interim transition to the other side. And it really does feel like you're going through the looking glass, because it's the way you solve problems is different. The way you think about problems is different. And even the way that we manage ideas is different with AI. And it takes some unlearning and relearning to figure out how to get your bearings, to find your way. And as I said earlier, everybody needs a guide. And I would love to be your guide. So as we wrap up our hour, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Oh yeah, I forgot to put my my slides in. So I'm going to share those now. Boop, now you have them. And I'm so excited and proud of this new refreshed creative intelligence experience that we're rolling out for May. It is so practical, so tactical, and really focused on time leverage. Every single thing I share will be something I know because of operations and sales and all that. And the time that I spent with those teams, it's like one of those sneaky little time savers that you don't even know has stolen your day or your focus or your attention until it's already happened and gone. But these are problems that AI can solve now. And I'm looking forward to sharing them with you and really just being on this journey. This is such an amazing time in history. And yes, there's a lot of change happening, but I'm also seeing so many old ways of doing things that are just going away. And we have the opportunity to create newer, better systems for how we work, live, and play. And that is what I want to bring to this space, to the world. And I'm looking forward to doing it with you. So with that, I'm going to be ridiculously efficient and give you some time back in your day and your Sunday. Thank you so much for being with me today. Head to the link below for creative intelligence, and I will see you on the other side. Thank you.